Don't be so hard on yourself. Just because everyone else seems to be making progress so much faster than you are, it doesn't mean you're failing. Nor does it mean that you're doing it wrong. You're free to feel that way, of course. The truth is, every one of us goes through that process of comparison. We see what everybody else is doing and think we should be working harder. And we end up doing that. Realise the things we've been working hard on are things we don't even care about. Things we don't want in the first place. The thing we really want is the approval. It's not the validation that we're doing enough, necessarily. It's the validation that we are enough. And the irony is, the only one who can give that to us is us. Because you may have heard it before. You may have heard someone say that you're special, or you're loved, or you're worthy, or deserving. You still don't feel it. The reason you don't feel it is because you're not telling yourself that. And it's great to hear when someone else says these things to us, but it doesn't change anything. It doesn't improve our lives in the way that we'd like to think it does. And it's the same with money, jobs, relationships, cars, all the other stuff most of us chase. And we want to believe that that thing can solve all of our problems or make us feel better, and for a very short period of time it certainly seems to do that, but it doesn't last. But we don't know a better way. Or maybe we do know a better way and we just don't want to accept that it involves us doing something uncomfortable, because certainly someone who's grown up in a male body, the idea of self-love to me was laughed at when I was younger. The idea of accepting myself for who I am. The idea of looking at myself in the mirror and saying, "You're enough." Even though it began with a great deal of discomfort. I'm not saying this because I've made it to the other side and all of my problems have gone away. Absolutely, I have less of them. I'm considerably more accepting of myself than I ever have been. My life is considerably more straightforward and less stressful than it ever has been. But there are still days when things don't make sense. There are still days when I say or do things and I immediately think afterwards, why did I do that? What was the reason for that? Or I beat myself up because I've eaten something that's not good for me, or I haven't done exercise when I said I would. And there's a million different ways I can be hard on myself. But the thing is, with perspective, it means every day isn't like that. Every day isn't a day when I'm just existing, feeling like I'm missing out on life. And another day has passed, and I've done nothing, and achieved nothing, and become nothing. And I know that there are many of you who are going through that process. because it doesn't seem like there's a huge amount of good to look forward to in the world at the moment. It doesn't look like everything is going in a particularly positive direction, but that's just a function of the orientation that the majority of the people in our society have. And you've just been caught up in that, and that's not your fault. In reality, it's no one's fault. It just happens. But because it's happened, you have the opportunity to turn around and move in a different direction. And the different direction is to take some time out of your life, take some time out of your day. It doesn't have to be long. Just to be with yourself. Understand that the battles that you might be facing on the outside are nothing compared to the battles that we face on the inside. In the battle for our attention. What to focus our attention on. To even just be aware of what's going on in our minds from moment to moment. And it doesn't take a huge amount of time to discover that. For anyone that's started a meditation practice, the moment you sit in one position and start to be silent, immediately your mind will find, or appear to find, a million reasons why silence and peace just aren't possible for you. And that goes on for a while sometimes. That's a part of the process. But I want to say this because it seems like we only have two voices most of the time in our world. There's the voice that says everything is falling apart, life sucks, you just need to resign yourself to it and adapt. And by adapt I mean just accept that's the best it's going to get. And then there's the other voice that says, oh, I figured out a way to the other side, by the way. Here's my $1,000 course and all of your problems will disappear. And that's bullshit. It doesn't work that way. There are plenty of people out there who are living happy lives, for sure. But not all of it has to be wrapped up on the other side of someone's fake lifestyle that exists purely for the purpose of trying to convince you to spend some money with them. Like, what do you want? Do you want that life? And if you do, that's okay. Like, I'm not condemning that. If you want the life where everything is perfect and you have everything that you want, then go in pursuit of that. In reality, most of us just want to be fulfilled. Fulfillment doesn't necessarily mean having anything more than you have at the moment. It just means being more accepting of what you have than what you might have been in the past. And so the only thing you need to work on is acceptance. I think it's time for me to turn around. That's what happens when you look at the camera and not the path that you're walking on. So again, give yourself a break. And I don't say that in a condescending way. Like, I need to hear that as much as everybody else. And I struggle so much, still struggle a lot, with finding people who are accepting of what they have, but are seeking more and just want to be real with themselves and others. Like, if you want to be real, find other people who are doing the same thing and spend time with them. And you may not feel like it in this moment, but you have every right and every possibility to find out what enough feels like. You have every possibility of finding out what being accepting of your circumstances feels like. And it doesn't mean resigning yourself to them. It just means accepting that in this moment, that's how things are. You may not like it, but that's how they are. And then doing whatever it makes sense to do to change that. And if you want some real world support with that, give me a shout. Like, this is a service, right? I'm not just saying these things to inflate your ego. I'm saying these things because they make a valuable, tangible difference. And I wish I'd had that support 20 years ago, because it would have saved me a considerable amount of time. And yes, I am saying that because I'm invested in helping this world improve. And helping the world improve means helping people improve, and you're a person. So, well, actually, you're so much more than that, but we have to start somewhere. And if you're new to this journey, you haven't done that before, there is always a possibility to explore that. I don't work with labels. I don't work with some kind of approach, therapeutic approach, that wants to put you in a box and treat you accordingly. I want to see you for all that you are, and all that you may not think you are in this moment, because you're more than a label. You're more than some words on a page. You're an organic, living, breathing human being, and chances are you don't have many people in your life that actually accept and honour that. So let's change that. Change it for your own good. Don't do it because someone else tells you. Do it because you perceive that there is perhaps just a small amount of value spending a bit of time on you for once. And try and put your expectations aside. Just see what you discover. Be open to seeing something new. Maybe you will. So that's my invitation for you for today. Hope that helps.